Hello and welcome, developers. My name's Shay, and this is another episode of Shay Develops. Now, I've been gone for a little while, but I'm back now and on to creating more content for you guys, educational content in both the development world and the business world as well. I'm starting a podcast that's going to be going live very soon, where where I and hopefully some guests are going to be talking about their business-related issues as far as revolving around technology, and we're going to see if we can find ways to solve these issues, at least talk about them, or talk about potential issues that maybe new businesses were having, starting up. And our very first episode is going to be on websites, as far as like getting one built for you, and the kind of process that one might go through and from different avenues. So that's going to be coming out soon. So look forward for that. So go everyone. But from now, we are actually just going to create, or we're going to go from start to finish, creating a fully responsive and custom website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we're going to build on this as we continue our development process and into the future, because we're going to start learning the fundamentals here at the very baseline in this video. Like I said, this is going to be part one, and we're not going to get too in depth into code in this video. It's going to be more so suited into the later sections. So part one, like I said, we're going to be talking over what kind of websites, or not, not what kind of websites, but what kind of languages we're going to be using, which I said is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I'm going to show you guys just a quick representation of each one of those, just so you can be a little familiar with it whenever we come into it later. But overall, this isn't, excuse me one second. Apologies for that. I had some throat clearing to do. Anyway, basically this is going to be a live coding session as well as we're continuing on through this. Not a lot of cuts. If I make some mistakes, I make some errors, hopefully we correct them within these videos at some point, but I'll try to correct them right then and there. All right. So with all that out of the way, let's start with, like I said, what to expect from the rest of the videos. Like I said, we're going to be creating a fully functional website. It's going to have a form, and it's going to hopefully look pretty decent. And what we're going to learn is how to use HTML and CSS. We're not going to learn every single little HTML tag or each and every CSS I think they're called preprocessors. I can't remember exactly, but we'll get into that as this course continues. Okay, so, and then we're going to use some JavaScript on the indent to add a bit more, like I said, form functionality, stuff like that, some validation. So you guys get familiar with that and have that built into a nice little portfolio page that you could show somebody in the whenever you're out there looking for a job. So let's hurry up and get started. I know I've been talking now for 4 minutes and 20 some odd seconds, and we haven't written anything yet. So let's go ahead and just start a very basic page. So I want to, well, first you guys need to know what tools you're going to be needing, right? So right now I'm using Visual Studio Code, and you don't need Visual Studio Code to follow along. You can use whatever IDE that you would like, or I forget what Visual Studio Code. It's not an IDE. It's just a code editor. Whatever code editors you would like. But with Visual Studio Code, I'm also using Live Server. So whenever I go and I make changes to my HTML, CSS, all this stuff, it's automatically going to update on this right-hand side over here on the page whenever we get that stuff started, okay? So make sure you can get those two installed, and really it's just no more than a Google to install Visual Studio Code. I'm not going to go over that. There's several videos out there. And then just coming down here to this extension section and getting the live server. So I'm going to go back up here to Explorer. And I have nothing going on right now, nothing open. So I need to create a new file. So I'm going to File, New File. And in order to get your HTML is going to live on this page right here. So let's go to unedited one, and we're going to I don't want close save or anything like that. I want to save as, and now we're in the downloads. Let's go to my desktop here. And we're going to do we're just going to call this index.html, and we're not going to serve it as plain text. We're going to serve it as HTML and just hit save. There we go. And whenever we actually go in and like create and create the actual website, like later on, we'll do this a little bit better. I feel like that was kind of clunky. But anyway, so now that we have our HTML page, we can use this to display content to the screen. So what HTML does is it's used to structure our images and our words in such a way that hopefully that you're using it right, in such a way that whenever a screen reader or a crawler like Google search bot or something comes through, it can understand the website and make sense of the content without actually understanding the content itself. If hopefully that makes sense to you. So what it'll do is it'll like, hey, I've got this H1 tag with these words in it, and then those words correlate to these words that are in these paragraph tags below it. So this H1 goes with these paragraph tags based off of, you know, the data that I've accumulated, or the bots accumulated from the text in between your structured HTML. So what does that mean as far as like structure and, you know, H2s and paragraph tags and all this other stuff? Well, that's fairly simple. And I'm going to use Emmet right here, which is a really quick way to install, or really quick way to write HTML. And if you don't have it already, it might come already with Visual Studio Code, but you can go to extensions there and type in Emmet, and they have it for other languages if you're familiar, if you want to use Emmet with one of those, right? So I only need it with the index.html, so I'm going to do just test website, and we'll create an H1 tag, call it test website. And right now my live server is not currently running, so I need to get that to work. So I may need to close this and then reopen. Where did it go? Let's see here. I thought I saved it to my desktop. I just need to index to HTML. That's kind of bad because I'm not going to be able to find it now. What is going on? Oh, here it is, right here, right in my face. But anyway, I'm going to create a new folder anyway. So new folder. And yes, I am a big Rick and Morty fan. I'm going to just call it I have no idea what to call this. We'll just call it test site for now. And we will throw our index page in there. And now we should be able to right click it and open it with code. I did that off screen, but it's okay. Let's see here. Now live server. What is going on with live server? It is not open with live server. There we go. Open a folder or work. Okay. Open a folder or workspace. Okay, so file, open folder, test site, select folder. Okay, and then we can close this and then open with live server, allow access. And now it's done this off screen, but here we go. I've got this test website that is right here. So if I just change this to cool responsive site and then just save it, see it's already updated over here before I could even move my eyes over there to even look at it. So that's just the power right there of using that live server. It's very, very it saves you time. It's very, very time efficient as far as creating when creating websites. So that's HTML. Like I said, it's structure. We have a doc type. We have an HTML that saves us metadata, or the head that we keep this metadata in. And we're going to talk about this more as we go and create our first part of our site. So they said that creates this meta. So let's go back to the head. We have the metadata, and then body, and then and then like I said, we have this H1 tag. So the body is where all of our content's going to live, and then H1, that's just our H1 tag, means a heading tag. It's H1, meaning it's the highest heading. It's a heading tag of most importance. And then if we want to add some CSS to it, we're just going to new file, and we'll call it styles.css. And then now we need to add a link CSS styles.css. Save it. Nothing's going to change at the moment, but we could come back here, change the body, background color, aqua. Save that. Boom. Background color is aqua now. So that's CSS. CSS is the color, it's how something looks, it's the design of a site. It's how you, so it's not necessarily how you structure, but it's how you structure aesthetically on your site. I feel like that's what CSS is. It's just the coding that beautifies the site from a plain black and white text site to some actual color. So you can actually do movement as far as animations and stuff like that with CSS as well. You don't have to rely on JavaScript anymore with that, but that's CSS. We don't need to go any further than that as far as right now. We're gonna continue with that in another part. And so the last thing that you need to be familiar with is JavaScript. So I'm going to create a new file. and we're going to call it alert.js, and we're going to create a new function. And don't worry if you don't know if you don't know this is you're not expected to at this point. If you're brand new to all this stuff, you're definitely not expected to know this kind of stuff. So we're just going to do alert. Hey, my good friend. All right. Now, I feel like I said that weird. Anyway, now we need to add that to our, just like we added our CSS right here with the link tag, we need to add this JavaScript. We'll do that with the script tag. So we'll do script src equals, it'll just be alert.js. And then we will close that script. And that's all in this. So we'll save it. And then we're not calling this alert function, so we could do function alert on me and then come in here into our index.html page and do on click, and we can call this alert me function. Save it, and then on click, whenever we click our h1 tag, we get this nice alert that says, hey, my good friend. And that's JavaScript at the very minor level. It does way more. It manipulates the DOM. And we haven't talked about the DOM yet. Don't worry about it. We'll get into that stuff. It's very simple. The DOM is basically your the structure of your page and the tags and elements and all that good stuff. All right, so that's going to be enough for this video. I feel like 17 minutes is far too long for that. But the next video, I said we're going to get more in depth into HTML and talking about the different tags, because HTML is actually quite important in web development, where CSS and JavaScript, they have a lot of power within themselves, but they're not quite, I feel like, as important as HTML is, as far as like structuring the content the way that it should be structured, so that way it's accessible to people on a larger scale. All right, anyway, that's enough of my rant. I'm back. I've got some new stuff coming out, new site, all that stuff. Get ready for it. Yeah, anyways, you guys take care. You all are awesome. I love you all. Take care. Peace.